Ahoy! New World Update 1.93 is out and comes with a few interesting and a few annoying updates, so let's have a look at them. On the Springtide Bloom set of things, the Beekeeper and Springtime Ruffles set are now individual items in the shop. Unfortunately, I already bought them, so I can't tell you if the cost has changed along with that. I'm hoping not. Also, added a Heart Rune charge to the Wispy Wasp Swarm. No idea what that is about. I'm guessing they just give you a little bit of Heart Rune charge now when you hit them, but I don't understand the purpose behind this, so why this is the case. I guess there must have been some niche scenario which makes this necessary somehow. The Wispy Wasp conversion is now labeled properly, and you can now get 4 Springtide Jingle coin bags a day instead of 3, meaning every single place where the event is will give you the money for it, but it's not really much anyway, it's like 100 gold-ish. There are a couple of quest fixes. One thing that's notable here is that there are 3 deprecated lore nodes that bugged out the game when you try to open them. Those are gone now. With some important game mode fixes. On one hand, you were somehow able to bring powder kegs out of Outpost Rush. That was honestly pretty funny. I would have loved to see that somehow. But the other one, to me personally, is more important, which is the Empyrean Forge Expedition fix to some degree. Commander Mario's Magma Ball Hazard will now display a secondary ring to denote the area in which the impact shockwave will cause minor damage and stagger the player. There was just a very significant lack of visual information on this part, and people thought that the radius was just unintentionally too big. It seems like it was intentionally this big, it just didn't indicate it at all, and now it will tell us that this is the radius that you can get hit in by the stagger. There's a fix to certain gear set storage items being returned to your inventory upon login. The next change is pretty crucial, and it kind of plays a little bit into how you exactly want to do these things. So, open world elite chests in level 55 plus Varangian points of interest now have a 75% chance to drop a flame core, down from 100%. Open world regular chests in level 55 Varangian point of interest now have a 10% chance to drop a flame core, down from 20%. So overall, we are going to see less flame cores. If you're still planning on farming flame cores after this, I highly recommend putting on as much luck as possible. Prazinos has checked this, and apparently luck affects the flame cores you get specifically from chests only, because those, I guess, count as trophy mats in a way. And you want to make sure to get a lot of luck in order to get them. You can also PvP flag for that if you want to have some extra luck from that, which can be a bit annoying if you're doing chest runs in ATA, but either way, you definitely want to get a lot of luck before you go into this, because otherwise it's just going to be very grindy to farm these. That is unless they have also removed the luck condition now, which would be super unfortunate. In return, however, unstable casks now cost 3 flame cores to craft, down from 10, which is a massive decrease on this end. So these are much easier to get, and also you can craft up to 6 daily, up from 3, meaning you can get the quests in 5 days basically, the journey quest essentially, and also improve the quality of items generated by unstable casks from the Flamecore Forge. This was done by removing PvP perks and resistance perks, so you actually have a fairly good chance to get decent items from that at least now. You can see in the background that I got from my Flamecore chests when I opened them. I got 30 of them and I just opened all of them, and they were not very good before these changes, so hopefully if you open them now you get something better than I did. This does however mean that flame cores for other things like trophies, the human bane trophies, as well as the fire heart runes, firestorm heart runes, are much more difficult to farm now, take longer to farm at least, which makes them more annoying. It also means that you are somewhat more pushed towards farming ATA, Atala's Foundry, where you have those elite chests, which still have a 75% chance, rather than just farming the small chests and the other points of interest. I did think that those other small chest runs were a lot easier and quicker and efficient to do, especially if you had luck, so that's what I was primarily doing, and I think they wanted to discourage doing that a little bit, and they want to push you a little bit more towards actually going for the elite chests. If you're still interested in farming flame cores, I will link my video here where I explain the best ways, the best routes to farm flame cores, with some links to a tournament map and stuff as well, so that makes it a lot easier. And in my opinion, it's still worth doing either of the routes really, it's just a little less efficient than beforehand, but in return, the flame cores that you get will probably also be worth a fair bit more gold. The Season Pass is getting a variety of changes. The Just Getting Started task is getting some fixes, but more importantly, there are several new activities, again, like in the last patch. Kill 10 enemies in Murkgard or in the Imperial Palace, Malevolence, Eternal Pools, and Beds of Tarbidjet. So these are all separate quests. And then there's kill 2 named enemies and kill 20 elite enemies. Now the last two quests I think should be fairly easy to do if you're running expeditions consistently, so that's a nice one to do, and it's also one that you can relatively easily do in open world. The other ones I don't like, because they are specifically restricting you to farm mobs in one particular area, which may not be an area that you want to go to, and it is just more inconvenient. It's nice for a lot of the activities that you do to be able to do them on the side, essentially, whereas these ones are specifically requiring you to go to a place to do them. I think there should at least be some optional variations. For example, you could say kill 10 enemies in the Imperial Palace or in Dynasty Shipyard, or kill 10 enemies in Malevolence or in Genesis. So if you're purely running expeditions, then at least you have an option to complete them like that as well. I think for most players, these will be activities that they're more likely to skip than actually do, and that just slows down the Season Pass progression. I think only real Season Pass grinders will want to travel to specific places just to farm a few enemies there. So I really don't like that they added these ones compared to some of the other tasks that already existed. But some of the older tasks at least also get some adjustments. And on the other hand, I will say that I think the last two tasks are completely fine. The PvP activities get a bunch of adjustments, and these ones are pretty good in my opinion. So the flawless victory in PvP arena now changes to just getting one victory in PvP arena. If you need to get 1000 PvP experience from valid player kills, that's now changed to 100 PvP experience, so much easier to get. Instead of participating in 3 arenas, you now participate in 1 arena. Instead of dealing 100,000 damage in an arena, you now deal 50,000 damage in an arena. And instead of having to earn 5,000 Azor Salt, you now have to earn 1,000 Azor Salt. I think it's from killing players or something. I think there's some requirements to that. I don't remember quite exactly how that works, but yeah. And then there is doing 2 PvP faction missions, which is now 1 mission instead. So overall, the requirements for the PvP missions have been pulled down significantly, which makes them a lot more reasonable to do. Otherwise, they just felt like too much time invested compared to the reward of just flipping a single card. I still think there would be benefit at giving the different cards different levels of rewards, but either way, I think this makes it a lot better already. And then there's also some more adjustments. The crafting activity is from craft 5 tier 5 weapons or apparel down to 3 tier 5 weapons or apparel. Still don't think most people are necessarily going to do this one unless they're already crafting patterns or something. Then consume 10 tier 5 coatings was reduced to consume 2 tier 5 coatings. This is huge for anyone going into expeditions because you're going to use 2 coatings most of the time anyways. So that's a very quick one to solve. And there are also journey tasks that have been adjusted similarly, which were the more annoying ones. So instead of needing 10 outpost rush wins, you now need 5 for Rush of Victory 2. Holding the fort only requires you to complete a single invasion now instead of 2, so I will never do the other one until invasions are reworked. That's wonderful. And Worldwide Warrior now requires 15 open world player kills instead of 50. The challenges are seeing similar adjustments. Outpost Rush Domination now requires 30 wins instead of 100, much more reasonable. Serial Killer now only requires 100 kill instead of 500 open world kills, which is something I think that is actually manageable. 500 was just ridiculous beforehand. 100, if you specifically set yourself the task to do exactly this, I think you can manage in this season reasonably. It's still gonna be a challenge depending on your server, because some servers people just don't flag, but definitely easier than before. Contesting the control points also now requires you to get 30 control points instead of 50, which I still feel like is a lot. I feel like it's so much sitting around considering a control point takes forever to catch. I don't like this one. The legendary craft amount is reduced from 125 to 100. Really not that much of a difference there, to be honest. I probably wouldn't do that unless you're just someone who crafts a lot. And Give Me Gold or Give Me Death has been renamed to Mutation Master and changed the required expedition rating from gold to silver. Keep in mind this is specifically M10s and you need 25 of them. I think this change was done because gold is simply harder to achieve now, so it would make sense that the previous silver, or the silver now is more like the previous gold ranking in terms of how well you need to play as a group, so I can understand why they tweak this a little bit. There are a bunch of quality of life fixes. One that I want to point out here is that the leaderboards, timers, countdowns are supposed to work properly again now, so that one should be fixed. Also, some people were apparently sometimes unable to unflag from PvP and should be able to do so now. But there's something else that is really cool that I wanted to show you. This was posted by Shibe King on Reddit. I'm not entirely sure where this is from. I'm guessing it's an in-game panel that popped up. I haven't seen it anywhere yet. It doesn't seem to be on the website yet or anything, but I am really looking forward to this. So there are a bunch of new skins and armors and weapons, and this is called Knights Errant. And once again, these are the types of skins that I think a lot of people want. Gothic skins based on real designs from the 16th and 17th centuries are now available to buy in the store. Smite your foes while wearing solid steel fit for a hero of old, or strike terror in your enemies while clad in menacing armor. So these can be bought from the 23rd of the 5th and then until the 5th of the 7th, including the armors, weapons, as well as new emotes apparently. Really looking forward to that. Just wanted to let you know these are coming as well. I finally finished all the calculations for the first part of Elemental Aversion versus Shirking Fortification, so that should probably be coming tomorrow. If you're interested in that, consider subscribing and clicking the bell. And thanks to my patrons for supporting this video. Thank you for watching. Sloth out.